Hi folks, welcome to a cheeky little live stream this afternoon. I'm here with Suzanne, Head of Carer Support at Mobilise.
Hello.
And with Claire, who's also part of the team here at Mobilise.
Hello.
So we just thought we'd hop on because there's a lot of conversation about vaccines for carers at the moment. There's a lot going on. Where are we up to? Have we started? Where are we at? And I guess, Suzanne, can I start with you? You're talking to carers and some of the carer supporting organisations we work with all of the time. Where are we up to with vaccines for carers at the moment?
Well, there's good news. Carers are on priority level 6. Levels 1 to 4 are done. So we're kind of in this next phase. They keep talking about 5 and 6 quite a little bit together, really. So it seems like now is our moment. And under the JCVI guidance in all UK countries, carers are included. And there's a little bit of a question, do I need to be on carers allowance or anything complicated like that? And the guidance says those in receipt of carers allowance or those who are the main carer of an elderly or disabled person whose welfare may be at risk if the carer falls ill. So there's your great identification of carers happening right there. So it means you.
Well, indeed. But Suzanne, a really important point here. Who makes that decision? Because presumably I can't just walk into a GP and say, hi, I'm a carer.
Well, kind of, actually.
Okay.
You can, it's up to you to let your GP know that you have a caring role. The GPs, there's some feedback that they're kind of categorising carers and focusing on that carers allowance. But when you get through to the practice manager or something like that, they have the greater understanding that if you're telling me you're a carer and if the person you're caring for would be in trouble if you weren't around, then that's great, you're a carer. Most GP practices are on line with that bigger NHS definition, and it's just a question of getting through to the right person.
My sense is that there's a bit of a common sense test here. So there's that. Each GP will be doing it slightly differently, but on the whole, I guess what you're saying is that we're hearing that people are going in, you have a quick conversation either on the phone, website, email, whatever it might be, and very quickly a GP practice will identify whether or not you're a carer. And we've been doing this for years, right?
Yeah, and hopefully you won't even need to phone your GP because we know that we want to take the pressure off them. Most GPs have got a little form on their website. You can just write them a quick, simple letter, send them an email, use those other forms of communication. And, and on the Carers UK website, we've got a template letter if you want to use that. Your local carer centre can help with that as well. So, there shouldn't be a barrier is the message. Absolutely.
No, I think that's really important. So if, because it may need a little bit of assistance if you're if you're worried about anything, about how the conversation goes. Carer centres, Carers UK, really good place to start, and they'll have some resources there for you. Now, Claire, one of the things, so this is partly about making sure that we're getting in line with the proper procedures and so on, but there's also something about mindset here, isn't there? Because we've been waiting this for over a year now. It's a massive deal. There's going to be a lot going through carers' heads as we come up to this moment. What are the things that we ought to be keeping in mind as we do that?
Yeah, absolutely, James. I think there's going to be some probably large emotions attached to getting the vaccine for a lot of carers. A lot of people have been shielding. This has really impacted. So first of all, I'd say notice the feelings and see if they're helpful. Some people may just be overridden with hope and excitement. Other people may be bringing anxiety to the table. I think as carers, we're used to fighting for things. So there's a belief that we may have to fight for this. Just notice if you're bringing that with you, because if you're making an assumption that it's just going to be difficult and the GP surgery is going to forget me and or they're going to send me miles away, or all that stuff that can go on, that internal chatter that you might not even be aware is happening. I think if you're feeling uncomfortable, something's unbeneficial, just have a pause, identify the feeling, and unpick exactly what's driving it, because we can take our, call them limiting beliefs, if you like. You can take these beliefs with us into quite, potentially emotional situations and make them worse or better for yourself. So,
Claire, this is a really interesting point. As you're talking, Vanessa, a member of our community, has messaged in to say, She was at getting vaccine sorted this morning. Olivia had a bit of a mini meltdown. Staff were amazing, and presumably that's one of the things that we might be worried about. You know, oh my word, a lot of change. We haven't been out of the house in months. This is going to be a lot of drama. But actually, all we're hearing, or what we're hearing from so many people, is that the team running this operation are doing a fantastic job and are really well set up to help.
That's right, and I think hearing evidence like that is really, really helpful, and to bank it in your mind that it can and does go well. Because sit there and say it's going to be a nightmare, and you sit with how that makes you feel, versus I'm so excited, we're going to get our vaccination, life's going to start to return to some normality, and how that feels. It's two different things, and the second, you know, can be true. So Vanessa just given a lovely example of how staff stepped in and everything was great.
Fantastic. And so we're getting into a little bit of a blurred area here, because so some people are having vaccines for whatever reason at the moment, but on the whole, we're just in the process of getting to group 6. Is that right, Suzanne? And while the pneumatic drill starts outside my window, apologies for the sound there. What can we be doing as a carer supporting organisation? What can local authorities be doing? We've worked with a few around the country. What are the things that we're learning can be really effective?
Well, there's signposting and identification are really key. And just what Claire was talking about there, giving people space, a safe space to think about what's right for them. Because not everybody is going to go, yeah, vaccine, yeah. And that's the message, that we should all be on board with that. Yes, vaccine is a great thing. But we just need a bit of safe thinking space to work out our individual circumstances and what's right for us. You know, that's one job that we can do in supporting carers. Identifying carers, making sure they're signed up with their GP. Up in Scotland, carer support organisations are taking that on, so you can register with your carer support organisation as well. So that's a fabulous way they can help. And I think that's what's coming with the next stage of NHS standard operating procedures. There'll be a bit more about what local authorities are going to be doing and what carer centres can be doing, and how that data can link up, hopefully. But that's the key thing, identifying carers and broadcasting that message. Carers, you're priority level 6. There are less barriers than you think there might be. We can help you over some of those things. We don't need to get stressed. And also identifying people that don't recognise that they're carers. There's a fantastic opportunity now to be talking about, are you looking after someone who is clinically vulnerable, who has been shielding, who is in themselves in priority level 6. There's some great messaging around that, I think, to engage with some new carers, which is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, really exciting. And over the course of the last 12 months, we've been working with local authorities, carer centres and carer supporting organisations to identify nearly 40,000 carers and get that conversation going with people. So there's a real opportunity amidst all of this real challenge of COVID, and particularly around the vaccines. There's a real opportunity to open up that conversation with a whole new audience of people who haven't identified as a carer yet. Suzanne, Claire, thanks so much. Is there anything else that we ought to be, any other key messages that we ought to be sharing with our audience today?
Or the other key thing is, if you're hearing that other people have had theirs and you haven't had yours, don't panic. They're not going to forget you. Even if you miss the 5-6 window, they'll still be doing catch up. It's not a closed window that's going to close. So don't panic. Some people have had it because they have their own health conditions. Some GP surgeries have vaccinated the carer alongside the cared for, but that's not standard policy. But where it happens, that's great.
And just to add, Suzanne, that if anyone has got thoughts and feelings and they want to talk through, that obviously yourself and the carer support team are always available as well for a call. So because sometimes just talking it through is enough to feel better.
Yeah, getting it out loud. And there's a fantastic resource which you guys have been contributing to, and in fact the whole Mobilise community have been contributing to with their experience on our website, running through all of the issues that carers might be wanting to engage with as they come up to vaccinations. Suzanne, Claire, thanks so much. Really great to hear from you, and thanks for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.